Currently 6 in the morning. As I record this, I had to force myself to get out of bed to go for a walk. So that's one for me, and then I had to force myself to turn on the camera. So congratulations to me, right? Peace is a thing that is subjective. Like, depending on who you ask, that looks like something different to everyone. For me, peace is being able to go into a library and just like browse the books and not be bothered. Peace to me looks like being able to work on any like creative project and once again not be fucking bothered. And to somebody else, peace might be speed racing. I don't know. Or watching, I don't know why cars are coming through a lot. I'm on a road, I guess, but NASCAR, that's the name. I was like, what's the name of that? And ultimately, protecting your peace is so important. Like, and people who do not have their own sense of peace will be so angry at you when you try to set boundaries, when you try to tell them, hey, I don't like this. I don't want this in my life. Because once again, they do not have their own sense of peace. And the fact that you are able to like reinforce your own is crazy to a lot of people, you know, like, and I feel like I'm personally in a season of my life where I'm like really trying to refine and like get, how do I say that? The parasitic energies out of my life, you know, because I don't want that shit. I don't want people in my life who are like constantly draining me, constantly making me doubt myself. Like, I hate that shit. And I'm sure you do too. Also, not to be vain, but can we admire how pretty I am for a second? You know? I feel like I say a lot, not jokingly, but in jest, in passing, I say a lot that I really hate people. And I don't hate people. I hate people's behaviors. And once again, I'm learning a lot about the way people choose to show up, you know? And I already knew it. And that's the beautiful part about learning lessons. Like, it's going to continue to repeat until you finally apply it. Like, it's not just about learning it, it's also about applying it to your life, you know? And one thing I've known, and I'm like trying to apply it more to my life, is the idea of like people bullshitting and like not being of their word. Also, shout out to Four Agreements. I love that book so much. Always do your best. Make your word impeccable. Never make assumptions. And always forget the fourth one. It's me, the editor. So I couldn't remember the last one, but I did look it up. Well, actually, I remembered it before I looked it up, but then I looked it up again because I forgot again. The last one is never take anything personal. So if we were to say them all again, always do your best, make your word impeccable, never make assumptions, and never take anything personal. Alrighty, back to the video. Like, I've been learning not to take people's word at face value. And it can be difficult when you really care about someone and you want to trust somebody. And that's the thing where a lot of us get fucked up, because we want to believe things. We want to trust people. And so then confirmation bias is definitely a thing. You want to see something, and so you see evidence of it. That doesn't necessarily mean that what you're seeing is true, but you're still going to see it because that's what you wanted to see. See, the brain is a powerful thing. Like, and another thing that I've been like hearing a lot that I really love is that addiction is not necessarily the problem. It's more so a maladaptive solution to the problem, you know? And the problem, we could say, is whatever pain, whatever trigger, whatever experience you're trying not to feel, you know? Because the unfortunate truth, I made a TikTok about this the other day, like, the unfortunate truth is that, like, the pain never goes away. The discomfort never goes away. You just get better at handling it. And so that's the thing. I don't know. I kind of went on a tangent. Sorry. Watched this TikTok where somebody was talking about how a lot of us try to assume that like manipulative and abusive people, I'm putting quotes because what does it mean to be manipulative? What does it mean to be abusive? I don't know. But we assume that these people are unintelligent and just don't know better. And sometimes, yeah, sometimes the manipulative behaviors are coming from a place of like ignorance and a place of like insecurity and lack. Sure. But they were also talking about how like studies apparently have shown, I didn't do the research on this myself, she could have been talking out her ass, but she was basically talking about how studies show that most people who are manipulative and abusive are very intelligent and know what the fuck they're doing. And I'm thinking about this from a spiritual perspective, from the understanding of spiritual law, you know, because I'm like, what you put out into the universe comes back to you. That's what I believe. And in that regard, I would say they are stupid, because it's like, you're doing all this like abusive shit, you're doing all this harmful shit, unaware that at some point it's going to come back to you, you know. And you could disagree with that belief, whatever, sure, but in my own experience, that's what I've learned. Like, what you put out comes back to you, and maybe not even in this lifetime, but at some point you will get that shit back, and it will not be pleasant, you know. Continue along the spiritual perspective, we could also say that, well, I'm going to say spiritual, but this is more an energetic perspective. When you look at the levels of consciousness and you look at the bottom of that, those would be the people who are more like leech-like, the people who are more like abusive in nature, you know, because they feel empty inside and they just feel the need to like feel that emptiness, you know, and they don't understand that like you got to start within, you know, you got to start from within. Like, you don't grab for external things thinking it's going to fill you up, because you'll just end up more empty. You know, drugs, alcohol, food, gossip, like whatever your thing is, like it's not going to satisfy you. Temporarily, yeah. And if I could be so transparent, I've been dealing personally, like in my own life, with my relationship with like marijuana. And I've never been one to shy away from my feelings or like my thoughts or anything like that. So even when I get high, I'm not the type of person to be like, let's not think about anything, let's not get serious. Like, no, I will get high and let's talk about it. Let's get philosophical, let's get deep, you know? But a lot of people, they get high, they get drunk, and their whole intention is to forget and to not think about those things. But I've never been that person. So like, I'm at this point where it's become more of a habit to kind of, and like I said before, the pain doesn't disappear. So like, even though I know how to handle it, it doesn't disappear. I just get better at handling it. And marijuana is a really good numbing agent for me. That's just how it is. Like, it might not be the most healthy all the time, but it is useful. It is helpful in the intention of numbing that discomfort, you know? And I don't know where I was going from here. There's two cats. Can't see the kitties, but there's two kitties. Kitties. Also, pay no attention to the background. If anybody's trying to figure out where I live, fuck you. Hello. You guys are brave. Most kids run away. Okay, now you're running away. Okay, bye. What the heck? Look at that. Look at that. Look at them. What the heck? What are you doing? Okay. Anyways, I really wish that more people could fucking smarten up and like not be pieces of shit. Like, that sounds pretty harsh. I don't give a fuck, cause I ain't never once in my life ever once. Well, actually, there've been moments where I've been so filled with rage that I did, but generally I don't seek out to harm others. And it really rattles my brain to think that there are people in the world that exist that like do that purposely go out and seek to harm others. And the analogy that someone used recently was like a shark. Like, a shark needs to eat. You wouldn't necessarily judge a shark for needing to feed, right? It's the same concept with humans. Like, you wouldn't necessarily you shouldn't necessarily judge because but the flip side is that I don't have to tolerate it and I don't have to accept it in my life, and neither do you. And once again, from a spiritual perspective, because like, when you raise in consciousness, when you raise in awareness, the way that your energy is and feels to other people is like unmatched. And so it's like a drug. Like, you become a drug to people. And it's really weird to think about it like this. As somebody who tries to be humble, who tries to like not be full of himself, you know, egotistically. But that is how it is. you know? And it's wild because people will play all sorts of mind games. And sure, sometimes we could give them the benefit of the doubt and just say that they're stupid and they don't actually know what they're doing. But a lot of times they know exactly what they're doing. And recently I had to like remove myself from a situation that was feeling very not kosher. And I wanted to leave on a good note because that's just who I am. Why would I want to leave on bad terms? Like, right? But maybe the way that I went about it was not the most conducive for leaving on a positive note. Oh well. I spoke my truth. It was not received well. And it was in that moment where it felt like it was a lot of people. It was really just two people who were like coming at me. Like they came at me with all sorts of insults, all sorts of empty words. And it was like crazy because it's like, where was all this before? Like, this is what happens when you hold stuff in your body and you just don't express it to the person that you need to express it to. That's also a thing. Like, because why am I here if you think all these things? Because one of the things one of them said was, we've been all waiting for you to leave. We wanted you to leave. And in my head, I'm like, okay, if that's really, really, really true, why are you giving me a hard time as I'm trying to leave? Like, what? Is it because I bruised your ego? Because what I did say, and I don't necessarily regret it, but I do wish that maybe I handled it in a more delicate way. But either way, fuck you. I basically said, I don't feel valued. I don't feel respected. I don't feel loved here. So I'm going to leave. And his immediate response was to go and like telephone it to the other person that like started coming at me. He was like, I don't even remember exactly what he said because I wasn't trying to get too invested in their bullshit, but I could hear very subtly, he said something like, oh, he said I disrespect him or something like that. Like he said it like, and it was just like, it just showed me his immaturity. Because it's like, I wanted to have a conversation with you, me and you. This ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. And so he went and said that, which prompted the other guy to come and like talk to me. And once again, immature people, the biggest reason why I was leaving. Like, not that I like transitioned into a more mature place, because shout out to my family. But then what he said to me just solidified why I was leaving. I was just like, what? He was like, how do you feel disrespected? And then he couldn't look me in the face. Paramore, I'll quote Paramore, I don't trust a soul that doesn't look me in the eyes. He did not want to look at me as he was trying to talk to me. And one of the things he said was like, and yes, I'm triggered. I'm talking about this very passionately because I'm triggered. This was really upsetting. He said, is it because nobody talks to you here? And then I don't know what I said. I don't know. I tried to be calm. I tried to stay in my peaceful energy. But he said that. And then he also said somewhere along the lines that he thought I was weird. They thought I was weird. They didn't like me and they were waiting for me to leave. And once again, in my logical mind, because I like to think I'm logical, I have a lot of Virgo in my chart, because I like to think I'm logical, I'm like, okay, you're telling me you wanted me to leave, but as I'm trying to leave, you're hurling insults at me and like telling me all these things. And I'm like, nah, bitch, you just jealous. You just a hater. And you wish that you could have like had a better relationship. Because like, I purposely distanced myself from those people because their energy was just so annoying to deal with and be around most of the time. And I'm a big reflector. I like to reflect on tough situations. So I'm not saying that it's their fault that I felt uncomfortable, but I felt uncomfortable in their presence. And so I would distance myself. I would spend as much time as I could alone. And so for him to say that, and then also another reason why it was like so painful, this interaction, was because that particular guy, I low-key had a crush on him. And I didn't shy away from letting him know that when I first met him. But then when I was leaving, he decided to call me a fucking floozy. He decided to call me a slut and say that he found me sexually repulsive. And I'm like, if that's your opinion, okay, I know I'm hot. I know I'm sexy. I know I'm cute. So you doing all this is just showing me once again how immature you are. Because why did you need to say that? Like, and it's this thing where people like spin a false narrative in their heads so they can feel better about themselves. Because then he was going on about like how I was annoying him and how I would like go into his room and talk to him. And if I were to tell you my perspective, yeah, sure, I did do that at first when I first like met him. But then I noticed he wasn't reciprocating, so I backed off. But that's not the story he wanted to tell. That's not the story he chose. So whatever, right? Because like, I love hard. I do. I gave him like some treats. I gave him some gifts when I first met him. Like, I was really sweet to him. But once again, I noticed he wasn't reciprocating. And so I was like, okay, I'll chop it up to the game, whatever. Deuces. So for him to say that was really wild. Because I'm like, bro, I left you alone because you didn't talk to me. And I could have explained that to him in the moment. I could have said that. But it didn't really seem like it would do anything. Because he already made up his mind how he felt about me. You know? And then also, well, I'm not going to get too deep into that. One day I'm going to talk about this in depth in like an official way. But right now, like, I'm still kind of processing, still trying to like adjust and all that. I don't know. But the moral of all this is that like, you really have to be mindful of your intuition and like what your body is telling you when you're around people. Because people will tell you all sorts of I loves yous. I don't know why I keep saying like that. I love yous and whatnot. But knowing damn well that they don't really like you. You know? And I just couldn't deal with it. I just couldn't deal with it anymore. Like, I spent a week away and I was like planning it. I was like, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go back. I'm going to tell him I'm going to leave. And you know what? I think another mistake I made was even telling him that I was leaving. Because when I look back on it, it was like a perfect opportunity for me to silently leave. Because there was like a whole lot of commotion going on. Like, they were dealing with the Wi-Fi and issues and stuff. And so I could have just left. I could have just packed up my stuff and left. But I decided to give him some courtesy and be like, hey, I'm leaving, and this is why. And I think that was a mistake. I don't think I should have did that. Because I don't think he deserved it. And I told him that after the fact. I texted him and I was like, yeah, your reaction is exactly why I left. So you can blame me all you want, but it's your fault. And I wish you nothing but love. But like, I don't even think you deserved me to tell you that I was leaving. Like, cause you're a bitch. I didn't say that, but like, cause you're a bitch, you know? Like, I hate using words like that. I hate talking like that, but a lot of people are bitches. And when I say that, I don't mean like in the female dog sense. I mean in the sense that they are cowards and that they would rather like do all sorts of crazy mental gymnastics than just take accountability. You know, like, just to say, oh yeah, I was wrong. I did X, Y, and Z. And I probably shouldn't have. But, you know, you can't control people. You can't make people take accountability. All you can do is remove yourself, which is what I did, you know. And I'm in a process of just removing people like this from my life because they be doing too much. They be doing way too much. And it's just annoying, you know? So, yeah, I'm going to end this here. I feel like I've rambled enough. So it's almost been 20 minutes. So thank you for being here with me. Thank you for watching this if you got to the end. And hope you have a nice rest of your day. Hope you stay hydrated. Eat some fruit if you can. And see you next time. Bye.